My name is Matthew. I think it's July 7th. I'm also known as Foot Forward in the Dinar community. I am currently contemplating when I start to sound like a broken record, because I feel like I talk about the same things. However, something interesting just happened. And hello, Goddess of War. I see you. I've been expecting you to show up. I know that doesn't make sense to most people. I have been feeling like it's a season of war. And most Christians, they get so sad and discouraged. I feel like I'm one of the only people who's excited for what's about to come. And it's not the end of the age yet. It's not time. I was watching something the other day that a friend of mine sent me. It got me thinking. It was talking about Methuselah and how the meaning of his name is like judgment. And God kept Methuselah alive longer to hold back judgment. A lot of people are really desperate for God to come back, and they're really desperate for peace. I don't want peace. I don't want peace in the Middle East. Hear me out. And this was echoed by some other people, just some investigations I've been doing. When we have peace in the Middle East, that'll be a sign for the end times. 3.5 years of peace, 3.5 years of war. I don't want Jesus to come back yet. I know that sounds like super controversial. Hear me out. We have done a really crappy job of discipling nations. That was one of the mandates in the Bible, that we were supposed to go disciple nations, and we've sucked at it so bad. We haven't discipled crap. Let's be real. We've sat in our holes. We've given up all of the influence in government, school boards, businesses, finance, holding any kind of wealth, having any sort of impact on the world. We don't even believe for healings hardly anymore. And yet the Bible is really specific in we lay hands on the sick and they recover. That's what the Bible says, but we don't actually really believe that. We don't expect that. So we just have kind of sat around and allowed the world to just go to crap. Our fault. We need to do something about it. So I don't want Jesus to come back because I want him to have a really good inheritance. The nations that we're supposed to disciple, that we aren't discipling. So we need to get on that. This is probably just going to seem like a collection of random thoughts, but I still think Kim Jong-un is going to die. I do. I just do. I don't think his whole Mr. Nice Guy routine is genuine. I think he's full of it. And I still think he's plotting and buying time. I think he's delaying, trying to play nice, buying time so that he can strike against Israel. I also believe that Russia and Iran are in on this conspiracy. Well, not a conspiracy. They're in on this plan, and they have been for some time. That hidden Malaysian jet, or the Malaysian jet 370 that went down a while ago, I think it's in Russia, in Siberia, somewhere in the southern forests, and they're trying to turn it into a bomb to hit Israel with. I believe Iran is in on that plan too. I know it sounds crazy. I don't care. See, this is why God tells me stuff, because I don't care if I sound crazy. Jeff Flake. Watch Jeff Flake. Just had that pop up in my spirit. Something's going to happen there. I find this whole Goddess of War thing really interesting. That's a sign. It's not a coincidence. There is no coincidence. People ignore signs far too often because they think it's just coincidence. If you actually mark down all the times you think you have these coincidental things that just happen to happen in your life, you're missing a lot of signs. Lots of them. Pay attention. Don't be scared to be wrong. I release prophetically, and I don't worry about whether or not I'm right. I know it sounds awful, but a better way to phrase that is I'm not scared to be wrong. I'd rather release what I believe I'm hearing and be wrong than not release at all. Because if we don't release anything at all and we don't do anything because of fear that we might be wrong sometimes, nothing's going to get done. Nothing's going to change. I'm fearless prophetically. I don't care if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize and God will deal with me and we move on. But when people are wondering why I have influence in the White House 5 years from now, and I'm releasing prophetically to world leaders and I have influence in that realm, this will be why. I'm also not going to take my money and go hide out in a mountain fortress somewhere. Which is why I will be a billionaire, and I hope lots of you will join me. But to do that, you can't just go hide your money in a field. You have to be a good steward. You have to be willing to invest it where God tells you to. You have to be willing to do what God tells you, and you have to be generous. Things that most of us need to work on. Hang on one sec, I need to check something. Like I said, this video might be kind of choppy. So when I feel like it's a season for war, and any second we're going to see war break out on multiple fronts, and I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's World War III or Armageddon or the apocalypse yet. I just think it's a season for war. The Bible actually says that there's a time for peace and a time for war. It is a time for war. People need to understand why. So when I'm feeling like it's a season of war, and Goddess of War shows up subscribing to my YouTube channel, gets my attention. It's a sign, not a coincidence. People will say that's too small of a sign. There's no such thing. This is a sign, believe me. July 12th is going to bring war of some kind on some front. I'm sure of it. I feel that. I don't have any giant specifics. I have my hunches. What July 12th will bring. Also was told to watch the 15th, the 18th, the 21st, and the 28th. I would expect a lot of fireworks to go on. I think this is the time where we see another prophecy that Kim Clement had about 10 short wars. That would be very intense, high in intensity, but short in duration. People need to understand why it's happening. Why do we need wars? To deal, with principalities and with strongholds in certain areas and nations. There are groups of people that are in place that are operating under a spirit that is not from God and has very evil intentions and needs to be dealt with. God told me 4 years ago that this particular spirit would be dealt with and would be decimated where it couldn't even function for a decade. It buys us another reprieve. What happens after that is totally up to us. We need to be ready to step in, fill the gaps, start actually having an influence in our schools, communities, countries, nations, affairs, the list goes on. We can't sit on the sidelines anymore. I want to be part of the nation, or part of the generation that gives Jesus a giant inheritance and blesses him that way. I want to participate in that. That's why I so badly want to be a billionaire, and why I'm going to be is because I have a desire to go have influence on nations. Plural. I dream big. It scares people. It's awesome. Also going to the White House at some point. Don't know when. Next few years, I think. It's going to be fun. God's going to open up some really cool doors. Do really, really cool things. It's going to be awesome. Testimonies are going to be incredible. Okay. Think brain. Watch Iran. I'm still on that train. I'm not getting off. The dinar will not revalue until there has been a military strike in Iran on the nuclear sites. So save yourself a lot of time. And I sound crazy. Again, I don't care. Noah looked crazy talking about rain until it actually rained. I will probably look crazy until Iran actually gets hit. Would it be wild if that just so happened to be July 12th? People say it's a coincidence. Not a coincidence. I don't feel that dinar is going to RV that day. It just doesn't feel like it's time yet. And when it does revalue, it's going to be utter chaos. War would cause chaos. Just saying. It's not going to be all peaceful like everyone says it needs to be. In order for it to happen, it's going to be the exact opposite. And it's going to just stun people. Kim Clement had a prophecy where he was in the spirit. He was talking about the dinar had just revalued. And people were like crying out in agony, being like, why? Why now? I can't mimic it like he did. But like people were in agony being like, why now? Like, why this moment? So I expect it not to look super pretty. I also think the world isn't over, though. We have a lot to look forward to. I feel like this needs to be all for this video right now. But thank you for watching. I appreciate that you guys subscribe. I just haven't been sending out email notifications anymore. So if you could subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate that. Find me on Twitter. I'll have that down below. Hang in there. A lot of people are so ready to give up. You can't. Otherwise, you're going to get to heaven and realize we were super close to something, like 99% of the way there, and then you just quit. That would really suck. So don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep contending for the RV. Keep contending for God's will to be done, even if it doesn't make sense to us. Because a lot of times it won't, because His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Change is coming. Good things are coming. We have a lot to actually look forward to, and the world isn't over yet. So let's participate while it's still here. Thanks. Bless you guys. Bye. One other thing, check back here frequently. Seriously, subscribe to my channel, because if you don't, you might miss out. I feel like I'm going to get downloads almost daily, leading up to July 12th during this whole month, and there's going to be a lot going on. We're going to need to have it interpreted. By the way, Jim Jordan is being railroaded. Guy's good. He's a good man. Should actually support him. And vote out the scumbags in 2018. Just saying. Ask for wisdom. A lot of you need that. Go read Proverbs. Proverbs talks about wisdom the whole way through. Anyways, felt I needed to add that. Thanks again for watching. I'm in a really weird mood. I think you guys can tell. Something's going on. I'm gonna go now. Bye.